Breaking news, you're looking at it. This is right off the presses, guys. Donald Trump leading in the latest Fox News national poll. He's also ahead in New Hampshire, but in Iowa, Ted Cruz he's actually extended his lead now. It's a 4-point edge over Donald Trump, right around that era of margin. Marco Rubio follows in third place at 15%. And voters say it's national security, overwhelmingly the most important issue when deciding a candidate. That became the #1 issue, of course, following San Bernardino and Paris. And probably will even gain even more traction. Here to help us break it all down, Daron, Republican consultant for the Fox News poll. All right, Daron, a lot of moving parts here. I think what jumped out at me is the continued chipping away of Ted Cruz at Donald Trump.
Right, you see a little bit of that in the national numbers. Cruz bumps up around 20% nationally right now, which is a high watermark for him, but you really see it in some of the states. A little bit of movement in New Hampshire, and as you pointed out, a consolidation of the lead in Iowa, and the poll results here match what we're hearing from people on the ground in Iowa. That is, Cruz is extremely well organized. These bus tours of all the counties of Iowa seem to be paying off, and so if anything happened over the last month when most people are on vacation and dealing with the holidays, it seems to be that Cruz's momentum is even picked up a bit from where we left it off last month.
Now, to that point, we're getting more and more people who said, okay, they're certain now of who they're going to vote for, and maybe less than half saying they're not certain, but that number was over 50% before. As that poll shrinks, how do these candidates get these remaining folks who still aren't certainly committed?
Well, you know, it's always a very difficult question. How do you break through when there's, a dozen candidates, who've been marshaling their resources now for several months? All of them explode on the scene here in the last 4 weeks trying to get your attention. I think, the analogy we always use in political science is shouting in a crowded cafeteria. And that's what you're going to see in Iowa and New Hampshire. I think the best way to sort of lock down your vote at this point is to have people on the ground who are knocking on doors and dragging voters to the polls, explaining the caucus process, in New Hampshire, sort of making sure that people are going to show up and vote. It's in some ways, it's a mobilization game, IDing the people who really are committed to you and getting them to the polls on election day.
Wouldn't that stand to reason, though, Daron, that if someone stood in 10-degree weather for an hour and a half to hear Donald Trump speak 2 miles from their home, that they would at least vote for him, show up to vote on that day?
It would. I mean, that's right. But, we always hear every election, somebody talks about, boy, there's all sorts of enthusiasm here at the events. The events demonstrate the speeches the candidates given, they're well attended, and there's all sorts of enthusiasm on the ground. And we heard that about Dukakis in '88, about Dole in '96. Sometimes these stories are kind of apocryphal. And in Iowa, it's particularly important that whatever sort of enthusiasm you're feeling on the ground, it's got to be matched mechanistically by, sort of getting people to understand the actual process of the caucuses, because not that easy.
Marco Rubio, sort of stealthy move here, though he's solidly in third place nationally, in second place in New Hampshire, which I thought he came out of left field there. He increased in Iowa. Is he within striking distance? Because I don't know that anyone thought a couple of weeks ago that he would probably even be in the top 2. Certainly couldn't win either of those states.
Yeah, I don't know that he's within striking distance, although, all caveats, all weaselly pollster caveats included here about things can change and it's a snapshot in time, all right, blah, blah, blah. Is it possible that Rubio could pull off an upset? I don't know that he's got, from what I understand, the ground game and sort of the enthusiasm in Iowa and New Hampshire to knock off one of the top 2.
Well,
but
Daron,
a strong third-place finish works pretty well for him, I think.
I don't know about his ground game, but he's got some great-looking shoes there. Hey, my man, thank you very much. We really, really appreciate it.